This is the Ricoh GR3. In this video, we're going to talk about how to clean it, what flash to get for it, there's a few options, what file transfer options you have, there's a few options there too, and an everyday carry bag option that I think is excellent for this. And lastly, the GR4, whether it's good or, whether you should just get a GR3 or stick with your GR3 or upgrade to the GR4. So stick around and let's go ahead and start with how to clean it. I recommend one simple tool. It is called the lens pen. It's been around for a while. There you go. There's them. Non-sponsored, but I like the product anyway, and you can buy it on Amazon. I'll link it down below, affiliates link. One end is a slide out brush that you can use to clean dust off your camera, and that's where you actually start. You take the front ring off the lens and the hot shoe cover off, and with this brush, you just, before you open the lens or turn on the camera, just go around the outside of the lens barrel and get any dust off. I recommend using a light source nearby or be near a bright window while you're doing this. Get the hot shoe, especially if you don't have the cover on usually. I know for folks like myself who use a flash often, you just leave that off because you'd be prone to losing it. Get the dials for sure, and this back dial for sure. You can even give it a couple of twists and then go around, capture any dust. That's pretty much it with that. And then you turn the camera on, and then you get the lens barrel. Mine is actually pretty clean, as you can see, but usually on this second barrel, you'll see there's a lot of dust gathered. So just kind of go all around and get it. And then you can go into macro mode, which brings the lens forward. And if you see any dust in there, you can just kind of brush it off. Okay, and ultimately, if for some reason you have like a smudge on there, like a fingerprint, you can use the other end of the lens pen, which is this microfiber end, to wipe away any sort of smudge. It's actually almost exactly the same size as the lens on the GR. You just kind of give it a few twists, and then you're good. All right, so that's pretty much it with the cleaning of the GR. By the way, when you put the ring back on, you line up this white dot, kind of like a lens, with that white mark, and then you twist it clockwise. All right, so yeah, speaking of flash, flash just adds an extra dimension to your photos, especially if you pair it up with, let's say, the high contrast black and white mode in this camera. Is absolutely incredible. So the flash that I recommend, and I have currently with my GR3, is the Pentax AF201FG. This is the flash that came out for the GR3, I think, as far as I know. And it has exactly the right contact points, and it will communicate fully with the camera. At the bottom of it, there's this like fixed thing. You turn it to the right, and as you can see, it moves the contact points. So make sure once you have the flash on, you turn it that way, like so. And to turn on the flash, oh, by the way, the front of it moves up and down like this, so you can bounce. Make sure you don't hit yourself in the face with the flash too much, but you can bounce the flash off a ceiling. Like, that's a good thing to do often if you want to avoid that sort of direct hit of the flash. But as you can see with this flash, it is recognized by the camera right there. And let's come out of macro mode. And once you go use it, you don't have to do anything. You're in pretty much full auto, and the camera does the right thing for you. Focus on your gifts and keep producing. There's that message for the day. That's the flash I recommend the most. However, a very good close second if you can wait a little bit, because look at the size of this. It is a small flash, but it still adds a whole other, GR to your GR, basically. It's not heavy, so that's good. And also, if you're walking around with your GR, or, in studio or whatever, kind of, having this, and when you turn it off, this is nicely accessible to turn it off and on. It's GR-able, it's very sort of, it's very doable, even though the size looks kind of big. You can also wait for the GR4 flash that's coming out. That one is tiny. It barely rises, this much up above the camera. And even though at the moment it's only supported for manual exposure with the GR3, they're working on a software update right now. It's supposed to come out in October 2025 at some point, that will give the GR3 the ability to use that flash with some form of auto exposure, not as fully compatible as it is with the GR4. I think the difference is, as far as I understood, it won't know the distance from the lens, but it will know the exposure eventually if you update the software. Otherwise, it will just be a manual flash for you. Speaking of manual flashes, that'll be our last option, or third option, is to get one of these guys. Now, few different brands make small flashes like this, and I've had a few of them, and this is the one I've kind of settled on because I like the compactness of it and the overall design. I think it works. This is the Metalite F1S, and it's a manual flash, so this works with pretty much any camera, and it has just one contact point. There's a couple things I like about this, and I still use it even though I have that like fully compatible flash. One thing, it's tiny. Look at that. It's not as tiny as the new Ricoh flash that's about to come out, but this thing is tiny, right? And it is not very bright, which I think is actually a plus. Outdoor, if I use it in a sunny day, I actually don't have to touch the exposure compensation. So the camera is basically not aware that you have this flash on. That's what manual mode means. And it has just one power that fires, the same power every time. So if I'm indoors like this, it's going to be too much, right? Let's see. Boom. We're somewhat overexposed, but because of my film simulation, it's not actually that bad. But when you're outside, it's actually almost perfect because it can't compete with the sun. It's this little flash, right? So it just adds a pop of something to your subject if you have somebody in front of you to do like a portrait, and you won't have to mess with this much. Usually you want to go down a few, right? And that will give you like better exposure with the flash. The thing with a manual flash is your, snap ability is somewhat reduced to your ability to know what exposure is appropriate for that one flash that you're going to get. You might, by that I mean you might have to take a few shots, maybe I want it brighter, maybe we go like this. Oh, that's perfect. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you're, a pro, go to manual mode, select your ISO, usually, something lower. Good Lord, how do I get there? There you go. Let's go 200. And I think I like to do, I remember this, come on, photography. Yeah, something like this, like a 5.6 and like 100. Let's see if this works. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, so there's typical sort of settings, but again, it's just not true for every situation. And then, of course, the closer your subject is, the more impact the flash is going to have. So if it's close, look, it just gets really bright. So we're moving on from the flash situation. Let's go ahead and remove that and just so that not a lot of people get upset, we'll just put this thing back on. Okay, file transfer. One of my favorite things about this thing is you don't actually have to get in and take the card out and go to your computer and do all of that, because you can connect it to your phone or your iPad and have an app transferred for you. For that, you have two options. You have Image Sync by Ricoh. Let me just unlock this guy here. Looks something like this. It's like this blue app. And your other option is the new option, is the GR World app. And it looks a little something like this. I've started using the GR World app more, and I'll just go over that real quick. When you want to transfer your files, all you have to do when the camera is off, you just press and hold the play button, and it activates the wireless mode. As you can see, the app, once you've set it up, within a few seconds detects it, and then you can hit import images, and then it finds your camera, and then you connect to it. I just want to show you the convenience of this. Like, it's so fast and so easy. Look, and then it finds the photos, right? And you can just select them and import. You can import them in extra small if you want, but I just import in original size. If you do the extra small, it's extra smart because it's very fast. And you'd be actually surprised. I encourage you to do that. Get some extra small images out of your GR3, and you'd be surprised at the amount of detail that there is still in those images. And yeah, this is very easy. As you can see, the camera just kind of goes through, and let's see, I mean, for 48 images, it's taking us probably a minute, or maybe a little more than a minute, maybe 2 minutes. So that's my first recommended option. My second recommended option is the Image Sync app. What do you have with these two that's different? They're basically both the same. I think the GR World app works more smoothly. I like the new interface. The one thing that is missing now is if you go to remote control the camera, you pretty much only have remote shooting, which is, you can't do that while it's importing. It basically gives you a button to remote shoot. That's it. It's kind of like one of those, it's like a remote controller. You can't live view your camera anymore, which is something you can do with the Image Sync app. Shooting, if you go over here and connect to your GR3, and let's see if this works. Hopefully it does. It's trying. There you go. And then you can hit join. What you get with the Image Sync app is remote shooting that also gives you live view. So it's kind of really cool. It does drain your battery quite a lot though, so I can see why they removed it. And it is a tiny bit slower, but look, remote capture activated. And boom, now I can use my iPad basically as my viewfinder, you know? If that's your vibe, get the Image Sync app and, you know, be more patient with it and, you know, enjoy the remote viewing. There is that. I'm going to put the iPad back there. Lastly, I want to talk to you guys about the GR4. Is the GR4 good? Yes. Should you get it? 100%. Why? I'm going to tell you exactly why. It has faster charging. Okay, so faster charging is really good because this thing I actually don't have an extra battery for my GR3. I just use the USB-C port here, and I conveniently just plug it in top it up every once in a while. And I actually don't have to think about battery much on my GR3. So if you're like me, well, maybe that's not a good enough reason to upgrade. 4:3 aspect ratio. You get that in the new GR4. I think that's great. If you're into 4:3, and I've loved shooting 4:3, and I know it's cropping into the sensor, but I don't care. I don't have that option in my GR3. Maybe they'll add it with a software update. I doubt it. Another reason is the tiny flash that's coming out, which, like I said, you can actually get for your GR3 as well. Use it in manual mode, or wait until they do the software update in October, hopefully, and use it in auto mode. But that tiny flash is fully compatible with the GR4, so it'll just get you easier results with the flash. Another reason to get the GR4 over the GR3 is the new film simulations. The cinema tones are kind of cool. You can, in my humble opinion, replicate them with the film simulations that you have here to a certain extent by choosing one of the color points here, let's say positive film, and then you go to, oh, I've done a little bit of it already. You go to your white balance settings and you add, yellow or green. They have cinema yellow, cinema green. You add by going function button, there you go. You add your yellow and or green, and you get, you get your little cinematic vibe. Not exactly, of course, the same as those film simulations, but that's another reason to get the GR4 over the GR3. The buttons versus dials thing is another thing. It's kind of cool to have like an actual dial back here. If you're a manual shooter, you'll know what I mean, because your front dial for your aperture is great. It's a dial, but back here, oh, it's a flicky thing. Had the GR digital one for a while, and that one has the dial on the back, and I shot that in manual, and it is actually better to have a dial than a flicky thing. So I can see why they decided to go back to that for the first time in a GR since the GRD1, by the way. And they've brought back the exposure compensation, which is what this guy does if you're in auto mode, anything but manual, shutter speed, aperture priority, or program mode. We'll give you this as exposure priority. Well, you're going to have a separate button thing for it, which I think is pretty cool. But also, speaking of dials, the one thing I actually use a lot on this camera, you guys, is this back dial. This very hated back dial. Everybody is complaining about it because it supposedly, I think, gets stuck for a lot of people. Not supposedly, but really. So far, so good. Fingers crossed for me. But this is how I go through my menus and everything. I just do kind of with this style. It's actually kind of cool for manual focus also. If I go to manual focus, you use this and you set your focus. So I don't mind this thing much. Last reason, and I'll leave you with that one, to get a GR4 is if you just want something new. I think that's a decent enough reason. I don't. This is new for me, the HDF GR3. I just got it. And the final results are not that different from, say, a GR3 to a GR4. Yes, you'll have better sensitivity with the ISO. If you like shooting high ISO, I think the 12,800 looks a little bit better on the GR4. Like I said, I've been going through all of these good reasons to get it. So, but I'm not going to, because the end results and that faster focus and the faster charging, those are things that don't affect me much. I don't think about charging this because it's always getting topped up here and there, and it pretty much never dies on me. I don't have to change the battery either. Another thing you can do if you just want something new, I'm going to show you this. You just get a nice new ring for your current GR3, excuse the sound. Boom, look, Upgrade, huh? New camera, huh? Check this out. If you're one of those guys who likes to have something to hold on, there you go. Get a color matching little thumb grip. Oh my God, new camera. Wow, wow, look at that. Is that not enough? You get a new strappy strap. Boom, there you go. Little hand strap to match the colors. All linked down below. Speaking of, I think I left the EDC part. There's this Japanese bag company, Lihit Lab. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Lihit. I will link this down below. It has two little pockets. You can fit two GRs, or in my case, GR, and it's flash, and it has in the main pocket in large enough compartment for an iPad and, you know, some other things, you know, extra pocket there. I think that's where the iPad is supposed to go. And a front pouch for, you know, your wallet, a little extra stuff, a little pen thing. You can put your lens pen in there. There you go. Boom. Do keep in mind, these don't come with a strap. So, you know, go through Amazon and find a nice $5 strap like I did here and buy a strap for it as well. These things are actually cheap. I think they're like $10, $12, $17, something like that. They're actually made to be put inside a backpack. That's why the strap thing is an optional thing, but I just wear it as it is because it's such a perfect fit for my photography needs. GR is flash, and all things. If you don't do the wireless thing, one last thing, get yourself one of these dongles. It takes a SD card and a micro SD card made by Anker. USB-C, plugs right into your phone or right into your iPad. Can't go wrong with it. So with all of that, I leave you folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Ask any questions in the comments about your GRs. If you have any insight about the GR3 or the GR4, because they seem to be very similar, do let me know. If you have requests for other videos, please also ask in the comments. In the meanwhile, click those links, subscribe, like, share this with your friends, and I will see you next time.